A WWE superstar secretly re-signed with the company. Also, in addition to that, a huge WWE NXT announcement, another announcement, because we're constantly getting announcements. And we got to talk about maybe a call-up. We got some NXT talent backstage for SmackDown yet again. All right, guys, I think it's the perfect time to just kick things off and talk about SmackDown. Javon Evans and another group of talent are reportedly backstage in Cincinnati, Ohio for tonight's episode of SmackDown. It is October 3rd, depending on when you're watching this, but the show is emanating from the Heritage Bank Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. And hours before the show goes on air, we have been told by Fightful Select that Javon Evans and Dark State have been spotted in Cincinnati, which... obviously, as you guys know, WWE sometimes does these dark matches, but Javon Evans was on SmackDown last week and he had an absolute banger with Sami Zayn, which has led to a ton of positive feedback from fans. You just simply have to wonder. You have to wonder, man. You have to wonder if WWE is getting ready for a call-up. Now, Dark State being on TV doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? I think we could all agree on that. I think Dark State, it's a little too soon for them to get called up. Obviously, Dark State is also defending the NXT Tag Team Championships against the Hardys on October 7th. But Javon Evans is an interesting one because there's been a lot of talk recently about how WWE is going to be doing NXT call-ups. We don't really know. And what makes things even more interesting is that Leon Slater and Javon Evans are going to be competing at TNA Bound for Glory for the X Division Championship. Is there a possibility where Javon Evans gets called up to the main roster, potentially wins the X Division Championship, and that's a belt that we end up seeing on SmackDown? I don't know. Maybe it's premature to speculate here, but the fact that WWE officials have been very happy with Javon Evans, which is, I think that's a no-brainer. I think his work has been absolutely incredible since joining WWE. But the fact that the belief, going around is that people were really thrilled with him and Sami Zayn. I mean, you just have to wonder if there's something bigger at play here. And obviously for SmackDown, I love the idea of including NXT talent from time to time, dude. I think it's fresh. I think it's nice to get some of these new matches and matchups or whatever. And that's just kind of the way I see it. I think Javon Evans is definitely going to be a huge success for WWE. I think the kids are going to love him. I think the adults are going to love him. I think everybody's going to love him. All these different demographics that you would typically look for. Man, I think it's just hard for me to believe anything otherwise, which is huge. And obviously, that's a pretty big deal. That brings us to our next topic, WWE NXT, another big announcement for WWE. But this is where things get even more interesting. And that's because we have a situation where realistically, WWE keeps the announcements coming, but maybe it's for a good reason. WWE NXT has been announced for the Madison Square Garden Theater, and this is obviously a big deal for a variety of reasons. They've done it before with NXT Roadblock. Now they're going to be doing it the day after John Cena's last match. We don't really have more details on that, right? We know the tickets are going on sale soon. We know NXT continues to go on the road, but this was a very, very big deal for NXT when going into the MSG Theater. I think for WWE, bringing NXT there is a great idea. I think WWE, bringing a special live show, it's a huge deal. I'm going to break it down for you guys. On Tuesday, November 18th, NXT will air live from the theater at Madison Square Garden on the CW at 8 p.m. John Cena obviously makes his last appearance at November 17th. So let me correct myself because I think I caught myself saying it was his last match. No, but his last appearance at MSG, and then the day after NXT is there. Ricky Sainz is being promoted. JC Jane, Ethan Page, Sol Ruka, Trick Williams, and several other WWE superstars are confirmed to appear. Tickets go on sale October 8th. Pre-sale code is WWE VIP for those who are interested. So why is this a big deal to me? Why am I even talking about it? Well, I think it would be really fascinating if the WWE NXT TNA partnership continues there. It would be a very big deal to have TNA talent at the theater of MSG. But this has obviously been a success for NXT, and this is another milestone, man. These guys are doing another big show outside of the Performance Center. I think WWE and what they're doing with NXT has become very special. It's a hot take, apparently. Apparently, being a YouTuber that talks about professional wrestling, you know, and the guy who genuinely loves history, historically speaking, NXT and everything it's done, man, I love this. I love this. I love this. And I'm just super proud as a fan to be able to watch NXT kind of become this thing where a lot of people, yeah, obviously a lot of people are vets and some people came from AEW and whatever, but there's a lot of young up-and-comers in NXT, and the fact that they're able to achieve this is really great. I think it's also been really dope to watch NXT kind of blossom into this thing where technically it's still developmental, but it could be considered a third brand. And, you know, when WWE did Roadblock last year, I felt like it was a very special show. So if WWE could do that and maintain that feeling this time around, I'm genuinely hoping for that. That's what I would like to see. But it comes down to booking. You know, the venue is cool, but it depends how you book the show and what you do. And obviously that's a big deal. You know what else is a big deal that nobody seems to be talking about? NordVPN. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just make it really clear. NordVPN is a great tool, especially for professional wrestling fans. And I've teamed up with NordVPN. You can get 77% off NordVPN's 2-year plan. They're actually going to give you an extra 3 extra months. And on top of that, if you do the math, it's like $3.09 a month. This is one of the best VPN products you can use. You know, how do you guys watch SmackDown? How do you guys watch NXT and Raw and PLEs and all that good stuff? You know, international viewers have the ability to just use a VPN. Well, actually, no, that's kind of not true. They have the tendency to just go onto Netflix and watch it, but that's for international viewers. Well, what does a VPN do? I think you guys know the answer to that. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. Bronson Reed has secretly re-signed with the WWE. This is very, very big story because nobody seems to have been talking about this. This news did not get leaked when everybody thought it should have been leaked. But according to a new report from Fightful Select, Bronson Reed re-signed with the company for a multi-year deal. The new contract was signed quite a long time ago. It's been kept quiet all up until now. There is a huge vote of confidence in WWE through Bronson Reed. Obviously, you know, to have a long-term future with WWE is a big deal. WWE brought him back. Triple H is using him as part of the vision. I don't really know what else to say other than that. To be honest with you, Bronson Reed is one of my favorites. I mean, he was one of my favorites before too. And when I saw him get released, I was really bothered by it. To see him come back into the company doing good stuff. It doesn't matter about wins and losses, dude. This guy has a prominent role in the company. I'm looking forward to see what they do here. But I like the vision. I like Bronson Reed with Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman. I would love to see what else they can do here. WWE has definitely been utilizing him as a project, getting him over as a monster. The stuff with him and Roman Reigns has been really good. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I think that's the best thing about this is like, okay, cool. We don't got to worry about him long-term in his future. Even his injury, he came back and WWE immediately slotted him for something of importance. So very big stuff there. Bronson Reed is remaining with the company. Let me know what you guys think down below.